is asking, Drew, what are you doing?
What up?
Ooh, well done.
Are you coming back, or are you going into the booth where we know a seat is ready for him? Listen, it might be confusing to the Saints fans, but I feel like for the most part, the Saints fans are willing to open the next chapter. And if they do that, I think the best thing for this team, being better without Drew Brees, is having a two-quarterback system. And I mean a true two-quarterback system. This isn't, you know, Taysom Hill starts 70% of the time and occasionally put Jameis Winston or vice versa. I feel like 50-50. You go in and week out, putting defenses in a bind, knowing that they have to game plan for two completely different guys. This isn't the same quarterback that's going to come in and have the same type of skill set. If you're game planning for Taysom Hill, you know you're going to have an athletic guy that can leave the pocket. He has a beautiful arm, can make any throw. But Jameis Winston, he can grip it and rip it. We know he can put up 5,000 yards if you give him the opportunity to. Now, Sean, you know this. As a defense, game planning for one quarterback is difficult. Game planning for two is something that teams haven't done before. And I know Sean Payton likes to do something different every single year, and this could be the perfect switch-up to give him an advantage.
Jameis Winston's a free agent. Are you going to pitch Jameis Winston? You're going to be getting 50% of the snaps come here when there's other teams that might be saying you're our starting quarterback. And furthermore, the question, are you better off with Drew Brees than this 50-50 thing that's never been done in the history of the NFL? I've never, ever heard of a 50-50 draw. You're drawing it up here on a February morning or March morning. Unheard of. You think that's a better option than going back to Drew Brees?
100%. Did you see that last game by Drew Brees? I think we're all in agreement that this could be the end of his career.
But the question is then, was it the ribs or was it that he's falling off and that he's washed? I think that's what it comes down to for me. Like, was it the 11 ribs talking in the postseason with those are the struggles? Because then I think I would take Drew Brees over Jameis Winston, who Sean Payton came on our show and spoke so highly about. But if it's that he's washed, then I would rather have door number 3.
If you take Drew Brees' words, which is, I was completely healthy going into the playoffs, and then by the way he looked in the playoffs, he looked like an older quarterback. And if you pitch to Drew Brees, you pitch to Jameis Winston, if you have this 50-50 season and play well, you could get the keys to an organization that is one of the best in the NFL, and that's the way you pitch it. And on top of that, I'm not sure there's a lot of suitors in places where Jameis Winston can go play ball. He knows the system there. Why not go there?
Yeah, I'll disagree with you about Drew Brees not having anything left in the tank. So I think he definitely does. To your point, okay, I think there was a cumulative effect of all the injuries and getting banged up. You know, later on in your career, Nate, it's, man, by week 17, you feel everything the older you get. And watching that video just kind of brought me back to like, okay, what's it like at the tail end of your career? You and I talked about it last week. And it's kind of like the old bull versus the young bull mentality, right? Drew Brees in that workout video was like, man, I could do this. Yeah, look at this. Okay, man, I'm gonna push this sled. Like, I'm used to this. This is okay. Your body is saying, yeah, go ahead, let's do it. Or your mind's saying, go ahead, let's do it. But your body afterwards, you're like, oh man, I'm a little bit older. I didn't recover from that. I'm a lot more sore from that now than I used to be. So you're always mentally thinking, I can still play, I can still do this, but your body starts to give up on you. Now, what I will say about this for the Saints, if you're Sean Payton, absolutely you want Drew Brees back. And absolutely we're a better team with Drew Brees. There's two main reasons, all right? Number one, you win football games by winning on third down and in red zone. When you look at what Drew Brees has done in the red zone, 59 touchdowns and 1 interception in the last 3 seasons. So don't tell me about Drew Brees can't throw the ball 50 yards down the field, can't make the big throw. I know they bring in Jameis Winston for that gadget play. This is where Drew Brees makes his money. This is why he makes the Saints great. Because down here, look at all these tight little throws. That throw to Michael Thomas right there, he was covered. All these little darts that he's throwing, that's why you have Drew Brees, and that's why he's so dangerous. So I don't care about the arm strength and is it declining? Can he make the big play? He doesn't need to. And for Drew, doing all that heavy lifting, pushing that sled, guess what? You got Alvin Kamara to do that. You got one of the best O-lines in the NFL with the Saints doing all the heavy lifting for you. Drew Brees, all you got to do is dish.
All season, we called it like the last dance for the Saints. We're like, this is Drew Brees' last ride. And even before the divisional round, I want to say Jay Glazer on Fox came out and was like, this is Drew Brees' last season. This is it. If they lose to the Buccaneers, it's over. We never heard it from Drew Brees, though. Like, here he is, and now we're in March, and he's still pushing sleds, still hasn't retired. He's already restructured his contract to make it team-friendly just in case they want to move on or if he's coming back. I'd be careful what you wish for if you're Saints fans and if you're the mayor of New Orleans sending out tweets about Russell Wilson. I would be careful because I remember the Broncos with Peyton Manning couldn't throw the ball 10 yards. They won a Super Bowl. They haven't been to the playoffs since. Like, having that institutional knowledge of Drew Brees and having the Hall of Famer of Drew Brees, And I'm not so sure this thing doesn't go differently if it's not for one play. Third quarter in the NFC divisional game, they're up 7 at home. Brees throws a perfect pass to Jared Cook. Antoine Winfield causes a fumble. Devin White takes it back. They were up 7 late in the third quarter when this happens. The Buccaneers go on a run. That's not on Drew Brees. That's a Jared Cook fumble for carelessly carrying the ball, and it gets stripped. If they
Put in your left hand, brother.
If they score on this, they're up by 10 or 14 in the second half at home in a playoff game where Brady wasn't looking great until the fourth quarter. I got to say, I wouldn't be the one telling Drew Brees not to come back. I would say, hey, we need to know in at least a couple weeks what you're going to do. But if Drew Brees wants to ever come back to the New Orleans Saints this season, I got to think Sean Payton thinks, all right, let's run it back one more time. The window's still open as long as you think you can go. It's on Drew Brees, though. I don't think you can push him out the door or assume you're going to get the same production from Taysom Hill, Jameis Winston, or in your case, both. I just think that if Drew Brees wants to come back, you say, let's go for it one more time.
There's a reason that we keep hearing, even if it's not from him, though, Schrags, that he's thinking about retiring. It's been over 2 seasons now we've been hearing that. I wonder how much of this has to do with Tom Brady. I think that had something to do with him coming back. This guy's coming into my division. He's going to challenge my records that I've set. And then Tom Brady goes on and wins the Super Bowl. He waltzes into his building, beats him. Is any of this different, Schrags, if the Chiefs win the Super Bowl, if Tom Brady doesn't hoist the Lombardi? How much of this, him wanting to come back, him wanting to show that he's pushing sleds, has to do with the Tom Brady effect that we're seeing trickle down all over the league?
I think there's something with all these veteran quarterbacks, Ben Roethlisberger included, which we saw last week. They don't know, I mean, for 30 years, Drew Brees has known, all right, it's March, it's time to get in football shape, it's April, it's May, it's 30 years of his life that this is what his life is. And you can say, well, that NBC chair is waiting and he's going to be doing football. Chris Collinsworth's not going anywhere. So where is Drew Brees going? Is he going to do Notre Dame games on Saturdays? No, he wants to be an NFL quarterback. That chair is waiting, but it's not like he's dying to get there. And knowing that that's waiting, I don't think he needs to rush off the field to get to do the second NBC game when Collinsworth still has that job anyway.
I believe it's less about his peers or Tom Brady in this case and more about injuries. Over the last 2 seasons, he's been banged up and he's missed significant time. This isn't a couple of games or Drew Brees doing like the NBA and doing load management at the end of the season. He has missed time because he has been injured, not hurt, injured. So Drew Brees is sitting back saying, okay, of course I can come in and nickel and dime my team into the playoffs. But if I take that one hit, I could be out for 5 to 6 weeks. And you know, at the end of your career, 5 to 6 weeks isn't something you can bounce back from. 5 to 6 weeks when you're 40, that's something that
he missed 9 of them last year.
That's what I'm saying. And then the year before that, it was him being banged up in the middle of the season. So I just feel like it's more injuries than anything else.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And that's probably why Drew is out there pushing the sled in the parking lot at 7 a.m., 8 a.m. with a bunch of CrossFit guys and girls. For Drew, it's can my body handle another season? So you've got to train like this. Look, he's not going to wait till May to figure it out. He's not going to do like Brett Favre did and start throwing in July and then say, all right, I want to come back. So Drew's got to find out, can my body handle it? To your point, Kay? No doubt about it. Drew Brees is over there saying, look at what Tom just did in my division. Oh, and
he's older than me.
The Saints swept the Bucs this year. They beat them twice. So it's like, look, they're the Super Bowl champs, and we beat them twice. I'm going to take one more shot.
Do you think Brees wanted that out there publicly? The fact that it's even out there, the video of it, do you think that's a message to the rest of us? Yes, right?
I think he's fine with it. I think Todd Durkin was more like, hey, let me
easily he could have told Durkin, don't
post that.
But Peter, after that playoff
because he didn't puke, that's why he was okay with it.
After that playoff loss, Schrags, it seemed like he was fully ready to retire. So what happened from there to now? Tom Brady won a Super Bowl. Like, I just think that does play into it a little bit. What do you guys think? At GMFB.